friends, it's a plot to drop the IQ. Fighting amongst each other over rumors that don't like you. Prefer us trapped in melancholy with the wood ones of holly. Suggestions that obliterate to camouflage the folly. Attempted mental robbery, executed sloppily. The poppers see this mockery and walk the talk with me. Put the hands up to touch the Akasha, cause you know deep down there's something bigger than your wallet.
Sweet eternal balance of all that is good, true, and beautiful, friends. Welcome to Middle Path. It is Thursday again. I am so excited to be here with you. I decided that we should do a lightning oracle round because we haven't done one in a while. I feel like these words are covering up my face. And also because I really had this great content that I want to share with you guys on Middle Path that dives deep into some spiritual fun. But I just did not have time to put it together today. I ended up having a lot more time with a lot more of my sessions today than I normally would, and that is great. I'm happy that I was able to give that time. And I have an event this weekend. So if you are anywhere near Colorado Springs and you like spiritual fairs, then you can come to this spiritual fair. It is so funny for me still going to this spiritual fair. I did one in Denver a couple weekends ago. I'm doing one now in Colorado Springs starting tomorrow. And if you are around, it's the Body, Mind, Spirit celebration. And I'm booth 144, I think. It's a bit smaller than the Denver one, I think. So it'll be easier to find me if you are coming. It was so cool to see fans and supporters of the show and people who know and love Rogueways and Middle Path at the last one a couple weekends ago. But I keep telling this story lately because it's relevant, and I guess it's on my mind, and it's also 2022, if you didn't notice, which has something to do with it. And it's because it started years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. I wandered into a Body, Mind, Spirit celebration, and I didn't really know that that's what I was doing. I definitely never would have gone, but somebody had ditched me, and so I had all this time on my hands in a city that wasn't my own, and I didn't have a car. And so I had this time to kill, and I'm sorry, those of you who listen to me a lot and have heard this story. I'll try to make it quicker than I usually do. But this Body, Mind, Spirit Expo was happening just a mile away from where I was. And so I wandered down because a mile is an easy distance to walk no matter what. And so no car, like this thing. And I even was thinking at the time, like, what the fuck? Like, I hate this shit. Like, this will be so new age, shallow, buzzwords, hucksters, liars, frauds, like all that. Because that's what let's be honest, that's what it seems to be. We see the most of in the quote unquote spiritual community. And it was no different in my mind then. So I went wandering and I wandered in and I walked around a bit. And then I found this booth and it caught my eye. First of all, because, no, that wasn't actually the first reason why. Anyways, the guy was very down to earth. The booth was very unadorned. A lot of these places, it's like there's lights and there's music and there's like incense burning and like whatever. And he was just like, yeah, here's some books. Like, you can have them if you want. You can buy them if you want them. I don't really care. Like, he was very down to earth and very much a normal person, in my opinion. And I liked that. But what actually attracted me to the booth was this book. I saw the face of this book, the cover of this book, and I remembered dreaming about that book the night before. I had never seen this book in my life that I know of, not consciously. I'm pretty sure I really had never seen this book in my life, and then probably no one has. And yet it struck me because I had a dream about this book last night. So I walked up to him and I said, I dreamt of that book last night. It's so weird. And he was like, oh, it's for you. And just handed it, like, casual as fuck. Like, no. Nothing, did not faze him at all. And I thought he was saying, oh yeah, take it, like, buy it, you can have it. Like, he didn't care. But no, he was saying, take this book. And because I was like, well, how much should I pay you for it? Obviously it costs something, right? And he's like, no, I was told to bring this book and for someone, and here you are. And I was like, what? So I dreamed of it and you were told to bring it. And so he gave me this book, and I never would have read this book in my life. It's the stupidest sounding book to me. Like, it's so lame looking. The cover is so lame looking to me. Like, I am a judgmental person. I admit it freely. You've all seen it in action for years now. I'm better and better at not being, but this is a part of my character that is transforming. And so I just wouldn't. No, you could have handed me the book for free and said, "Here is a free book," and I would have been like, "No, I'm not reading that ever." But because it happened like this, like I had to read it, and I did end up reading it later, and it did have very deep truths and information that I did need to understand for my own path. So it was very much a reason why I was dreaming of that book and that he was told to bring the book. So anyways, he said, "Well, come to my talk later." Like after we talked for a while, I got my actual first piece of orgone ever from him. And he was like, "I'm doing a talk later. Come to it. It's over here in this room or whatever." And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I have like 5 hours to kill at this place. So I will totally go to a talk for an hour." So I went to his talk for an hour, and this is where things got even weirder. And other very weird and interesting and powerful and synchronous things happened to me at this fair. I just always only tell this part because this is the big one. And so I was at his talk, and he was talking about reflexology. He was teaching us all the points on your hands that you can use and you could apply pressure to in order to relieve tension or relieve headaches or relieve cramps, like bring health to your liver, like all these things you can take care of your body with reflexology. And I had heard of it, but I didn't know what it was, so it was cool to learn it. And I actually had like I don't remember what it was, a headache or a pain somewhere or something, and I did it and it actually went away. So I was like, that's pretty cool. He taught us a lot of little tricks, little spiritual tricks like reflexology and that you can actually ground someone else or help ground them if their spirit will accept it. You can just imagine them being grounded and they just will receive more grounding. So especially if you see someone like going a little nuts or being a little loose with the energy over there, you can just be like grounded. Just imagine them grounded and they just receive it. And he showed us, we like practiced with each other. It was pretty cool. Anyways, partway through this chat, there was a ball of light that came through the wall, and I know most people are like, what the fuck are you even talking about? But a ball of light came through the wall, and I always tell people that in itself wasn't that surprising to me. One moment. But what was surprising is that it was happening in front of a group of people, because I'd actually had experiences with orbs and little balls of light for many, many decades at this point, actually. And so, but it didn't happen in front of people. It didn't happen definitely in front of groups of strangers. So I was really shocked that this light was coming through the wall, and no one seemed to notice it but me. And then I was even more shocked when the ball of light fell into his head and he seemed to react to it, and he shook, and then he started talking, but his whole mannerism had changed. That energy from him had changed. As much as facial expressions can, change, those changed. His voice was obviously still coming from his throat, so it was his voice, but it did not sound like he had been speaking the whole rest of the time. Like, he changed. And he started sharing a message, and the message had to do with the end times and the apocalypse, or whatever you want to call it. It doesn't matter. I don't care. And he said, it's going to be dark. It's going to be dark times. It's going to be rough times. It's going to be hard for humanity, and much will be destroyed. Many people will die, and it'll be hard. And he said, but it will never be without the light. I will always be here with you. You will always have the light with you as you're going through, even this time, especially this time. And don't worry, because it will end. You will make it through this time, and it will end by 2033. And every time I tell this story, I feel again the dismay at the difference between 2022 and 2033. I'm like, that's actually a lot of years. Like, that's a long time to live through the apocalypse, or like whatever, the end time, like the darkness. But that's what he said. And he said a few more things that were very reassuring and loving and beautiful. And I don't remember all of it. I wasn't recording it. I was just in my mind, like freaking out the whole time. Cause I'm like, I know something fucking crazy is happening right now, but I don't know if anyone else does. No one else is reacting. And then the ball of light popped out of his head, and he did this like shake thing again. And he said, "Oh, that wasn't me. That was Sai Baba." And he just kept talking, but about Sai Baba now. He was like telling us about Sai Baba. He's like, "If you don't know who Sai Baba is, here's what he was like." And I was just like, does anybody in here care that just happened? Does this happen all the time to spiritual people? Like at spiritual fairs? Is this just the norm? Like, I thought it was a big deal. I've never seen a ball of light drop into someone's head and have them start really actually channeling that person. Or anyway, and then he started talking about Sai Baba, and apparently Sai Baba is this Indian guru guy. I don't know. Seems like he performed actual miracles. I don't pretend to know. He did have a weird thing where he showed up in James Dean's car as James Dean was going off a cliff. James Dean survived that, and he kept the car forever. And that's all I know is what he told me that day. I think I researched him a tiny bit just because I was like, who the fuck is Sai Baba? Like, this was crazy. But I lost interest because I don't know, because I just move on to the next thing that I'm learning about. And so I just still don't know like too much about Sai Baba, and because it's not even the important part, right? It's not like we should all go worship Sai Baba and read everything he wrote, although if it calls to you, then absolutely, I'm sure there's beautiful golden gems when you do go looking at him. But the important thing was that the message that he gave, right? And we're here in 2022, if you didn't notice, and it is looking like it's going to get pretty dark, like the controllers, the people who pretend to have control, the psychopathic cabal. It does seem like they've got some pretty dark plans in store for us. They definitely seem to want us to eat bugs, not have a food supply, probably not have a water supply unless we're like in the social credit system with the chip in our arm or whatever bullshit. And still I know that people will have their freedom if they choose it separate from that system. And still I know that we will survive, because I always knew that. And then this happened. And I was like, that actually just confirms everything that I've also been told in my own dreams and visions and, guided journeys and whatnot. The 11-year thing kind of threw me off. It feels like a long time to live through something like that. And who knows, though? I like to point out that the last 2 years were supposedly some of the worst shit we've ever dealt with. And, I'm pretty okay, actually. I did pretty good. But, it could probably get worse. And, again, the message was to not live in fear about it. Not be in fear about it. And to remember that humanity has come through worse things than this. And to remember, most importantly, that we are not alone. And that we have guidance and spiritual support through anything, especially the dark times. There's a reason why so many people are waking up right now. And there's a reason why so many people are called to step further into their spiritual truth and gifts. There's a reason why so many people are so fascinated and more interested in this than they ever have been. And that is why, is because that is actually all you need. That's all you need. So I'm not saying don't also have some water filters and some food or whatever you do to be prepared for things, but I'm just saying that's really the truth of this place and what we're doing here. And so the whole reason I'm telling this story is because back then, 3 or 4 years ago, whatever that was, I already thought it was so dumb and gay that I was going to a body, mind, spirit celebration. I was like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever done. It's so lame. And then I went and my life was transformed. I was like, whoa. And I had very, very, very many very strange paranormal seeming, spiritual seeming, whatever, interdimensional experiences, of which you've heard many if you followed me for any time at all. But I never actually quite had that happen. And then it was at this fair. I was like, is this just normal for these fairs? Anyways, I still at that point was like, wow, this is actually very different than I thought. There's actually really powerful, cool people here who are actually real people connected to source and still normal, as in down to earth and not full of ego and just whatever stupid culture they put on for the lulz and the ego boost and the attention. And so I loved that. I appreciated that so much. Well, now I'm at one. Now I'm at that same fair. I didn't really realize it when I was like, oh, there's this fair thing. And I could probably have my books there and my orgone and whatever. And oh, I get a $50 off the entrance fee if I give a talk. I'll give a talk. I talk all the time. I'm a teacher. That's easy. And so I'm giving a talk. And then I realized this is the same fair that I found him at. And I'm now at one myself, and I'm giving talks. And it just reminds me, too, of, there is actually a real purpose why we have these fairs. And some of the people there are fake and shallow, and some of the shit is stupid. And then some of the people there are real, and they're there to remind and to hold that space. And I'll tell you, the last one I went to was whoo, it blew my energy up. I had power dreams all night long, every night, messages coming in heavy, easier to give blessings and do readings and do all this stuff than ever. Very cool to be around that many people who actually are tapped in and connected, even though some of them really aren't yet. So that's going to be fun. That's this weekend. That's why I'm not doing a hangout tonight after the show. I'm sorry if you were really stoked on the hangouts, but we will be back to hangouts next week as normal. It's always fun to hang out with you guys, unscripted, unrecorded, just hanging out, being ourselves. And so if you are interested in that, you do have to be a supporter either on Rockfin. That's ROKFIN.com/rogueways, or on Subscribestar, that's subscribestar.com/rogue-ways, and or on rogue.locals.com. All of those are acceptable ways to receive the code and join us on Thursdays for the hangout, as well as receive perks like the monthly tarot reading, which I'm going to get to by Monday for April's tarot reading, and other things that only supporters get. So if you love Rogue Ways, you love Middle Path, you love the content, that's the best way to get all the goodies. Exactly in the chat over on YouTube said, loved your interview on FKN with Chris, Forbidden Knowledge News. That just came out this week. I also did one with the Deep Share with Andy. I also did just last night with Legit Bet. So lots of good shows all over the place. I've been on a few of them lately. I just did one with Sam Tripoli on Zero recently. I'm going to be on Tinfoil Hat within a month or two. I can't remember when. Coming up sometime. I think a month. And then, so there's all sorts of stuff. And I love to have you guys connect with those shows too. They are all great people and do great content. Over in the Rockfin chat, the family is here. We got Dakota. We got Lindsay Smith. What's up, you guys? Travis is here. Good evening, Travis. Kyle Mirabella's here. Happy 2112, he says. I believe that's the time. Good evening, Travis and Kyle. Oh, sorry. I'm just reading comments. Dakota asks, what was my presentation on in the last one? I did the presentation on source-guided meditations, and part of the reason I did that is I wanted to give a meditation to everyone, to just give them something immediate and tangible. I love guiding meditations because people can take the skills or experiences that we have and do them anywhere for the rest of their life. But I also knew that I can then share with them the types of experiences you can have and the types of skills you can develop when you start doing this more regularly and being really present with yourself and giving yourself that time and that space to just be within, and all of those different elements that come into play just in one little meditation. So it was really cool, and I'm actually doing the same one again this weekend. I'm sure it'll be very different. We'll have the same topic. Angie A is here. Happy Thursday. And Omnivore is here. Had some awesome guests on your show lately. Thank you, Omnivore. I also agree. I tend to have some pretty amazing guests. We just did Emily. How could I possibly forget her last name? But I am. Emily Moyer was just on. Such an awesome person. I feel like we're like equal and opposite soul sisters somehow. We have very similar views, experiences, and ways of thinking about things. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. So I'm very excited to do some oracles with you today. I'm going to get right to that in just one second. I have to share this with you because it's so cool and so exciting. And then we'll also be turning off YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and anywhere else I stream, because this is actually a supporter-only show every Thursday. And I do like to say hi and remind people on the other channels that that is what's happening. But I also want to share with you guys these beautiful medicine bags. This just came today. I ordered these from my dear friend Lacey. Lacey is a leatherworking wild woman, beautiful, source connected, I'll say witchy, earthy, just awesome, badass. And Lacey does this beautiful leather crafting, and she also has done my tarot case, which I will share with you too. And if you need any leather work done, I know she does like belts and obviously tarot cases and obviously these medicine bags and anything else you could think of. I'm sure she does moccasins and all sorts of stuff. So if you want to contact her and get your own leather item, she does beautiful work. She sources from beautiful places and gets high quality leather and things. And so she's a wonderful person to work with. And if you want to, you can contact me through the site or at lindsay@rogueways.org and ask, and I will connect you with her. She just does, direct connections. But these are going to be up on the site, available to you soon. I love this one with the antlers. Each one, has a different bead. Also, some of them don't have any beads if you're just like to be very plain. These are meant to be worn around your neck. I love the turtle in that last one. This feather is so cute. We've got some deer hooves, wood beads. I love the red sinew. You don't have to wear them around your neck, but they are, that's originally their intent, right? And you carry your medicine with you, and this is the idea. And you have to make your own medicine bag. But I have a lot of materials I would like to share with people, and now I have a lot of bags I would like to share with people. And so you can select your bag and you can tell me your intentions or the allies you know you have, or the energies you feel aligned with or would like more alignment with. And I can send you the materials for you to then construct it yourself, put it all together. It will have a blessing infused in it for release upon your receipt of it. I love that one with the red bead and the little deer hoof prints. She's just such a cool worker. I love this one. It's just plain. There's no beads. You can just wear a simple one. Got another feather and some nice beads on this one. Another more rustic with the deer hooves. So you can see there's a handful. I believe I got 12 from Lacey. I love the seashell beads on this one. The little wire wrap. There's another pretty neutral bag. I think that was the last one. So if any of these grab your fancy before they are put up on the site, you can contact me, especially if you're in the Telegram group or the locals group or any other way you have of contacting me, and let me know which one speaks to you. And then we'll, I'll put it together and send it to you. And wow, I guess I should have understood what I spent on each one and the cost that might be. But let's see. I think we could do these for... I'm just checking my guidance now, if you were wondering why I'm pausing. $33. So if you like that and you want some medicine bag energy, it's also very good just to have with you on your altar or your the other place that we call the things where you put your special stuff, whatever, your altar, your shrine. Or your sacred space in your house. If you have one, you can keep your medicine there as well, and you can pull it out and put it on when you're doing meditation or ceremonies of your own or rituals that you like to do or whatever. And that is something that I can help you learn more about if you would like to. So that's all the fun stuff I have to share with the general public today. I love you all. I also would love your support, and you can join us over on rokfin.com/rogueways if you'd like to see it live. If you'd like the recording in full and not get cut off, but just want to listen, you can be in any of those places where I listed before: Subscribestar, Locals, or Rokfin to get the content. So much love to you all over there on